Joseph, I think I'm gonna head back. You see my keys?
One drink, okay?
Bottoms up.
How's it going, fellas and fellettes? It's your man Jesse, aka Satire Goat, aka Pecker Squad President here. And I'm on vacation right now. I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
How do you do, fellow kid?
I think I'm gonna start using this tanning oil as a mic because my channel will look a lot more professional. And it'll give it a more stand-up comedy vibe. What's going on with all of these Jews today? But nah, I'm in Florida right now, and honestly, the vacation has been pretty underwhelming and quite boring overall. So I've been doing what I do most other nights, which is just surfing Netflix, trying to find really bad horror movies to watch. And while I was in the middle of watching one, a thought came to my mind, and I realized a lot of people just love watching shitty-ass horror movies on Netflix. So which one is the worst? I feel like this might be a pretty good series for the channel. It might get it, gets it active, a lot of subscribers, a lot of views. Maybe I'll be rich one day, pay for college, not be in crippling debt, get married, have a kid, live a happy life. All because of this video. It could start here. Subscribe. So, Creep. This is a movie that's been popping up in my recommended feed for months now, and honestly, I know why. It's because I watch terrible horror movies. But whenever I went to Google this movie, I actually saw the reviews, and it's received pretty much universal and unanimous acclaim. And after watching it, I don't know why.
The ad said $1,000 for. A yellow door. And realizing that no one knows I'm here.
Hi! Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you.
I'm assuming you're Aaron.
Yeah, I'm Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Joseph. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is gonna be a good day.
Oh my god. Creep is a 2014 film directed by Matthew Bryce and starring Mark Duplass. It's a found footage horror film in which the character Mark Duplass plays is a creep. And the director also plays the camera guy, in this case, Joseph's the creep. Joseph, who's the other guy? Is his name Matthew in it too? That might be, I don't know, dude. So the character of Joseph, who ends up being the creep, hires the camera guy, played by the director, to come down and film him because he's dying of terminal cancer. And it turns out that this isn't the truth throughout twists and turns in the movies, and he was just trying to get him there to murder him. Pretty basic plot on the surface, right? You're probably thinking, well, there's gotta be more to that. It can't just be like an hour and 20 minutes of the guy lying and jumping at the camera doing jump scares. You're wrong. Okay, Jesse's back, aka Marvel movies are overrated, bitch! And I made a little mistake in describing this movie. So, Joseph didn't want to kill the camera guy right off of the bat, and we're not quite sure why that is. When the camera guy originally gets to Joseph's house, or the place he rents out, Joseph says that his wife is pregnant, and since he's terminally ill dying of cancer, he wants the camera guy to film him so that his child will have good memories to remember him by. Now, later on in the film, when the camera guy realizes Joseph is lying, Joseph kind of runs away and puts on the costume of the wolf guy just to scare him a little bit. This doesn't really make sense because, in the larger context of the film, at the very end, the last scene is Joseph putting an axe in the camera guy's head. And there are multiple times throughout the film where he could have done that just through surprise. So why didn't he? I know a lot of the excuses the director or the fans of the film would say is because, well, Joseph wants to mess with the guy. He's a creep, and that means he likes doing creepy things. That's a really bad excuse. If an excuse a bad guy has for not killing someone when they have the chance is just because they like messing with them and because they're a bad guy, that's a poor excuse, man, and it doesn't make any natural, logical sense. You gotta have consistency in your horror movie. It's me, Mario. Trailer, you see a lot of different quotations like hilariously funny and also darkly terrifying, and just shit like that the critics come up with. And it seems like critics seem to think that this film is supposed to go for a more horror comedy type route, but when I saw the film, I didn't see that at all. The only comedic value I saw whatsoever was actually Mark Duplass's acting. And that's actually not a dig at the guy, because I think the acting is pretty fine. I think Mark Duplass has a very interesting acting style, in which he comes off as very realistic, but also over the top in a very bizarre sort of way. He's also a furry. The camera guy's acting is rather poor. He's also a director, and I don't mean to hate on the guy, because he is an independent filmmaker, but the directing seemed pretty lackluster all around. There wasn't really anything special to the shot compositions or choreography, because it was a found footage horror film. I will give him props that the camera was realistically horrible. It had really bad quality to it, which I guess if the film was scary in the slightest would have brought some, better factors to the film, but it wasn't scary. The writing is also incredibly subpar, and when the characters aren't spouting out expositional dialogue, they're sadly utilizing a lot of pretty on-the-nose foreshadowing that it annoys you. It annoys you when it's so obviously foreshadowing, and then it comes back into play later on, and you're like, of course it does, because you mentioned that earlier on in the film. Wow, how did I figure that out? And as for the actual scenes in the movie that are supposed to be scary, they're either a reoccurring gag where Joseph jumps out at the camera and tries to scare the camera guy, and it just comes off as corny because he thinks it's funny. That's a really poor excuse to utilize jump scares, in my opinion. And other than that, I think what the climax of the film, the main scene that's supposed to be scary, is pretty freaking funny, actually. Here's a clip.
Are you just trying to scare me? Or... Okay, well, I'm terrified, okay? You won. Now, will you just please step aside and let me go? Stop. Stop it. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
I don't know about you, but I'm gonna need a shower after that. Not because I feel dirty, but just to get all the cummies off of me. I don't regret that joke at all. But let's talk about the good parts in this movie, because it's not a horrific film, I don't think. It's bad. It's very bad. But it's not a god-awful film. Not one of the worst I've seen, and not one of the worst I've seen on Netflix. I do think that the final scene leaves a decent impact, even if it is working off purely its unexpected value. Other than that, I already talked about the acting of Mark Duplass and how it was pretty nice. It was realistic, but also bizarre. A lot of fun to watch. It was kind of funny. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Overall, since this is going to be a series, I should probably figure out a system for ranking the movies so that you know which ones I liked more than another. I can't use a simple 1 to 10 scale, because if I give a movie more than one score, you're going to be like, well, you gave both of these a 4 out of 10. Which one do you like more? So I'm going to give this movie a 3.745. Yeah, they're all going to get 3 decimal points, every movie I review. And that seems pretty fair. It's incredibly bad, but not overachieving in its awfulness. So, that's my coverage of the film Creep. I have actually seen the sequel as well. I watched that this morning, and that could also make for an interesting video because it's not nearly as bad as the first one. But write in the comments what film you want me to do for the next... Is this the worst movie on Netflix? Series? Episode? Thing? Is that the title? Who the fuck knows? I'm gay. See you later, Pepper Squad. I'm out.
Stop. Stop it. Stop it! Stop it!